I remember there was a time when I was deep into substance abuse, sex addict, pornography, food, sugar, just anything I could do to change the way I felt inside. If you watched my previous video on my nervous system regulation, I was all out of whack. I didn't feel good in my body, and I didn't even know this. And so, on a subconscious level, I would look for alcohol, cannabis, mushrooms, any kind of outlet to change my state. And then eventually I learned we can do this on our own in a healthy way, like breath work, meditation, exercise, chanting. There's plenty of healthy outlets that we can use to change our state that don't destroy our lives. But I didn't know that at the time. So I was trying to figure it out my own way. And what I came to realize is I was addicted to substances and sex, all these things. And so, what is the definition of addiction? Addiction is any repeated behavior that does not bring about the results you want. Addiction is a repeated behavior that doesn't bring about the results you want. So, waking up with a hangover, with no money, not remembering what happened last night is not a good situation in my mind. That was something I experienced and something that needed to change. And really, it took years of learning all about who I am, how my system works, how to navigate the physical, emotional, mental bodies, and get to the place where I feel good in my body, regardless of what's going on outside. That is the root of any addiction. We don't feel good, so we look for ways to feel good. And we can do things like drink alcohol. That's a really simple, common one in the world. A lot of places in the world, alcohol is a normal behavior. And now I'm actually in the point where I've raised my frequency to where alcohol brings me down. It's a depressant, and I can feel just not good when I drink even a drink, one beer, one shot. I instantly, I'm like, I regret doing that, and I don't have the desire to drink anymore. It's so interesting. I used to love drinking alcohol. For me, I used to be so quiet, reserved, and put in a box from my childhood, from having to fit into a certain way of being. Because when you're 10 years old, 12 years old, you can't just go out into the world and start making rent payments. You have to morph into a certain way so that you can get food and a place to stay. And so that resulted in me closing down my throat, and I had a hard time talking and expressing myself. So then by the time I was high school, college age, I just have couple shots of alcohol, and all of a sudden I'm talking more, I'm getting out of my shell, and it made it easier to socialize. And I loved alcohol. It was awesome. Like I said, I was alcoholic for a couple years there, and yeah, lots of mistakes, DUIs, accidents, just a lot of problems. Repeated behavior that didn't get the results I wanted. But the reason I was doing that was because I didn't feel good inside. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel confident in my own body and in my own ability to express myself. So I turned to alcohol. And now, like I said, it doesn't even do the trick. It lowers my frequency. I don't want it. It's a depressant. It doesn't interest me at all. At this point, I use plant medicine more in a ceremony setting to get perspective and downloads and insights. But for the most part, I'm pretty much sober. I'll have some coffee in the morning, and that's about it. Try and cut out all the bullshit from my life. And that allows me to navigate so much easier, so much less stress, save a lot of money, just it feels better. So again, I'm all about practical tips, getting to the root of addiction. We feel addicted because we don't feel good inside. And to feel good inside, that is the work. We decide, let's see, another one that was hard for me to kick was the sex porn addiction. That was a deeply rooted chemical change that I had, because it's not like I'm taking drugs, but you definitely get a dopamine rush and a high from porn and sex. And again, in a healthy setting, I think sex is awesome. It is all good, supernatural. But when you're jerking off so much that your dick doesn't work anymore, you got a problem. I definitely have been there before. So with sex addiction, you don't feel good, and you think you need to turn to this thing to feel better. And I guess in the short run, it might help you, but then eventually get to the point where, all right, I gotta stop this. You decide consciously, I want to change my behavior. And then a couple days later, a week later, you find yourself repeating this behavior that you want to change. And that's the work. And it really takes time. It takes grace. It takes awareness. And first of all, you need to be easy with yourself. Any repeated behavior you don't want to do and you're doing it, be gentle with yourself. If you're just ripping yourself apart, bringing yourself down, that is not helping you. It's just not. You're just going to continue down this not feeling good spiral. So instead, the first thing to do that really helps is be completely aware of the behavior that you're doing that you don't want to do. But do it anyways. Do it with awareness. It's amazing how much that'll change. It won't be the first time it changes, but let's take the sex addiction. If you're addicted to porn, watch yourself pulling out your phone or your computer. Be aware and tell yourself, oh, look what I'm doing. Look at this behavior, and be totally conscious and aware of what you're doing. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you'll build, maybe it's just a couple minutes where you're like, all right, I said I didn't want to do this. Look at me wanting to do this to change my state. I don't feel good inside, so I want something to change. And even if it's just a minute or two at first, like, look at this, sit in this, and this is the transformation, this is the change. This is how we grow and raise our frequency. Just sit in it, and then if you give in, you give in. Whatever, you're human, you're not perfect, we're not supposed to be perfect. But just be aware, and then the next time, maybe you'll go 5 minutes, maybe it'll be 10 minutes, then it'll be an hour, then it'll be a day, then it'll be a week, and then it'll be a month, and you'll just grow. And it's this slow progression of awareness that really, it's all great to set goals, it's all great to have things you want to accomplish, but really in the moment, present, not trying to go anywhere, this is our strongest state. This is where we're the most present. This is where all of reality is here and now. It's not somewhere in the future, it's not in the past. Those things can get stuck in our body and they can change, and we have to release those things, which is part of the process, but it all happens here and now. That is my practical advice for dealing with addiction, is awareness. Being aware of what you're doing, whether it's drinking, smoking, anything, sex. And I guess one more takeaway I'll give you that's helped me is if, all right, I feel this, I'm sitting in it, something you can do energetically in changing, not even changing your inner state, but just allowing your naturalness to flow, is it's just heart awareness. Bring your awareness into your heart and visualize a bubble, a torus field coming up, out, and back in. And this will really lock you into your natural state, because if you can get to your true essence, your soul doesn't need anything. Your soul is light unto itself. This is what I've discovered at the core of my being. It's just light, and it's good. It can be in prison, it can be starving, it can be in any situation, and it's beyond. But this is a little deeper. This gets to the deepest levels. But that is what it eventually has revealed to me, is our true essence is beyond any substance, any addiction. And just sit in that, sit in your heart. It is the seat of the soul, the center of your being, where the material and the spiritual meet. Much love. If you are interested in consultations, I offer one-on-one. I love working with people, sharing what's worked for me, and we can dive into your personal blueprint, your situation. Everybody is unique, so what everybody needs is unique, and that's where the one-on-one comes in. So jordanjdragon.com if you're interested in a intuitive reading, or you can book something longer. But otherwise, have a great day.